Let me first state that I really liked your video, and I enjoyed it, and I think that there's a lot of truth in your video, and I think that definitely people do vote for social reasons or for the way people view them. However, I think that there's other reasons, and I think one of the biggest reasons people vote against their party, that they should be voting for, is fear. Like, when people fear, what happens? Generally speaking, when people lose their jobs, they start to fear, and they generally go to religion, which is on the religious right. They generally start to fear things, and what happens? They start to fear gangs, which makes them want more cops, conservative ideal, and they generally want more war because they start to fear the terrorists, and that is also on the conservative side. And then they also start to fear taxes, that they won't be able to make it, which is also a conservative ideal. And you also have to realize that much of the middle America, such as the South and the Midwest, that do generally vote against their party, are not as much as you think. So you have to realize that they're not really poor, so to say, as much as you think. More of their lower middle class. And the lower middle class is probably the worst class to be in, because it's the class that's always fucked over. Because it's like, if you don't work, you could get handouts. If you're lower middle class and you're blue collar, you make a little too much money to actually get any handouts, but you still get taxed. And it's like the lower middle class is pissed off. And I should know, I mean, I live in a lower middle class, blue collar town, and people they work hard for what they have, and they don't get social handouts, and they're barely making it, and they don't get any handouts, and they generally get pissed off because they're like, hey, I'm a plumber, I'm a mechanic, I fix cars all day, or whatever they do, and they say, how come someone could just not work and get the same exact house as I do from Section 8, the same kind of living style? And I think that really truly pisses off a lot of the lower middle class, which is much of the Midwest and the South. And you can see as places like Ohio and Pennsylvania and Virginia are becoming poorer, well, I mean West Virginia, they generally are becoming more conservative, and a lot of that is religious right, and the religiousness that people feel when they become more fearful is much of that. You also have mechanics behind it, which is one thing. When people go under stress, they become more left brain, which generally speaking makes people a little more analytical, a little more mathematical, makes people tend to view things a little more rigidly and through more numbers and than actual the overall, and that generally makes people a little more conservative too. And also, like, because when people are under stress that much, they generally do become more left brain, and they start to become a little less stimulated, and that makes them a little sometimes less empathetic and more sympathetic to themselves, which is understandable because it's a survivalistic trait. Because when things go wrong, people should be more empathetic to themselves and not to other people's situations, and that generally makes people a little more conservative too. I mean, I don't want to point fingers or be bad about it, and it's just you have to realize that a lot of these things are survivalistic instincts, and that overall I think that the biggest thing, as I've been stating, is fear that makes people conservative. And it's just like a fear of that, I mean, some people have stupid fears like gays and abortion will destroy America, and others of them are like our fear of the terrorists. And then you have people who fear the gangs and all kinds of things. And I think generally speaking, as people fear more, they become more onto the Republican side. And I think that's one of the biggies, and I will end right there.